Yo, what's good? It's your boy Logan back with another vlog. This is episode 7 of the poker vlog. We got a couple sessions at MGM National Harbor once again. I'm actually currently in Montreal, which is why the quality's a little bit worse. I'm on vacation. I just graduated, so I'm going to be posting a lot more because I'm going to be taking a lot of time for poker and putting vlogs into it. I'm actually recording a little bit here in Montreal as well, so look forward to that. But before the vlog, the bankroll was at 5,782. Let's see how these two sessions went. Get straight into it. All right, let's go ahead and get to the first hand of the night under the gun with the ace of clubs, queen of clubs, a beautiful hand to start off the session. Obviously, we're opening this to 15, and I get two callers, one in middle position and one on the button. Hopping into a flop, the pot is $48. Flop is beautiful, ace of hearts, four of clubs, king of spades. Getting that top pair, great kicker. Most likely have the best hand. Nobody three bet me. Doubt anyone has ace king. So I'm almost certain we have the best hand. But I'm going to switch it up a bit and check. Middle position checks, and then the button bets 25. I see no point in raising. We're going to fold out worse. Only better call. So I just call and middle position fold. So we're going heads up to a turn. Pot is $98. Turn is the 7 of clubs. I check again because I'm going to check to the aggressor, just checking in flow, and the button snap checks back. Again, obviously checking makes sense in this spot. I was trying to go for a check raise to kind of represent a flush draw, which is what I have, but I just also happen to have top pair. So again, I think it was the right play. I was going for that check raise. Sadly, the opponent just checked back. Let's go ahead and get into the river. It is the 8 of diamonds. Now, I decide to check, and I do not think that this was a good play because remember on the previous street, he snap checked back. So he obviously has some showdown value. So he's not going to bluff. In my opinion, when people snap check, that's what they do. So, I think I missed out on some value here. I think he had some decent showdown value. And I think I could have made more money if I bet because when I check, he checks back. And he says, if you have an ace, you're good. I got a king. So again, we miss out on some value. I don't think I played this hand very well. I probably should have just bet on the flop as normal. I wasn't at this table for that long. There's no reason to really try and deceive these players or play any differently. At this point, I should have just bet. I didn't play this hand very well, too passively. Go on to the next one, miss out on some value. All right, y'all, let's get into the second notable hand of the night. Here in the low jack with the 8 of spades, 8 of hearts. Under the gun limps, folds to me, and I make it 18 to go. Obviously making it an extra for the limper. Two players decide to call, one on the button and one in the blinds. Under the gun limper decides to fold. Pot is $55, heading to a flop. It's decent for pocket eights. We got the 10 of hearts, deuce of hearts, 7 of diamonds. So we have second pair. It could be worse. It could be better. Big blind checks, and I decide to bet 25. And the reason why I'm doing this is my opponents could have higher cards that I want to fold, or potentially my opponents could have draws that I could get value from. So we're betting 25 for protection and value. The button decides to call, and the big blind folds. So the pot is 105. Going to a turn, it is the 5 of spades. Now, I check and the button bets 40. And I think that this is a pretty easy call. There's a lot of draws on the board, and it's an under half pot bet. And there's only one overcard to our pair, so he's really repping a 10 or a draw. It's less than a half pot bet. I think this is a pretty easy call here. So I decided to do that. I make the call. Pot's 185. Going to a river. It's a beautiful card. It's the 10 of diamonds. The flush draw bricks and the top card pairs. I checked because I have a good amount of showdown value. I'm content getting a showdown. And the opponent bets $85. Now, remember, the pot's 185, and every draw missed and the top card paired. I'm getting 3 to 1 on a call, so I only need to be correct. that he is bluffing 25% of the time. And I already told myself in my head, if this guy bets less than half pot, I'm snap calling. He did. I snap called. He was bluffing, and we took it down. This is one of those things where the people at the table were surprised I called too. A lot of people are like, oh, good call, good call. But like in reality, like he's either representing a 10 or he has nothing. He's not going to be betting this with anything else really. Like maybe jacks through kings or jacks through aces, but he is three betting those hands. So the only thing he has is a 10 or a missed draw. And if I'm only need to be right 25% of the time, I'm making that call all the time. So makes it a pretty easy call. Happy with the play, just that knowledge coming in to make it easier. All right, we're going into the third hand. This is actually the last hand of the first session. We're here in the big blind with the pocket jacks, jack of diamonds, jack of spades. There's three limpers to me, so I make it 25. Now I probably should have made it a bit bigger considering we're out of position and there's three limpers. I probably would have preferred a sizing of 30 to 35. The small blind folds, but the button and EP call. So we're going three ways to a flop. Pot is $78. Flop is the queen of clubs, five of clubs, eight of hearts. I don't really see a point in betting on this initial flop necessarily. So I decided to check, and it quickly checks around. And I think I have the best hand at this point, but I'm going to see what the next card is and maybe decide to bet because there are a lot of draws. And then the turn comes and it's the 10 of hearts. And I think this is, besides the jack, obviously, one of the best cards for me to bet on because uh, obviously there's more draws now with the new straight draw. And then there's obviously hearts as well. And then clubs is still around. And I pick up a gutter. So even if I am behind, I could hit a nine and not have a straight. So I think it's a reasonable time to bet. And we don't block any flush draws either. So it's more likely our opponents have them. So I bet 40 and one opponent folds and then the button calls. So the pot is 158 and the river is a really bad one. It's the ace of diamonds. And I check with intentions of folding to any reasonable size bet because any flush draw he would have would most likely have an ace. So they would have picked up top pair. So any of his bluffs are now beating me, or any of his draws are now beating me, even though they didn't really connect. Um, so if he decided to bet, I would have folded, but luckily he checks back, and I show the jacks, and we're good. So surprisingly, we won that hand. Honestly, I was not expecting to win that, but I think I played that one very well. I was happy to pick up that medium-sized pot. All right, that concludes the first session. It was honestly a really boring session. Like honestly, playing it, recording it, editing it, just boring, which is sometimes how poker goes. But despite it being boring, we won a lot. We won 380. Super solid session. Results somewhere over here. Can't complain. Great results. Good first session. Let's see how the second one went. I was going into the first hand of the second session here in the big blind with the ace of diamond, queen of hearts. There's one raiser and under the gun to $10, and there's two callers in middle position and one in late position. So I decided to raise it up to 60. And honestly, I feel like I could have gone bigger. I'm once again out of position, and there's two field callers and a raiser. The pot's already really big. I could have even gone 75, I think, maybe even bigger. But you guys let me know. I feel like I get these three bet sizes wrong when there's multiple field callers. So I would appreciate some insight on this. But anyways, under the gun goes all in for 55, so a little less than my raise, and the two opponents fold. So it's me and him heads up to a run out. And he says, all right, I need a lot of help. I said, do you have a pair? He's like, no. I'm saying, do you have ace king? He says, no. So we're ahead. And then the flop comes the five of diamonds, seven of diamonds, queen of clubs. Obviously, we're extremely happy. We have top. We're almost certainly good at this point, unless he's lying and he has kings or something, but I don't think he's doing that. Turn is really bad. It's the king of spades. So unless he has queen jack, we're almost certainly behind. So we're feeling bad. When the river is the four of diamonds. So the flush draw got there if he had it. And the opponent's like, oh man, I got you on the turn. I got two pair. And then he's like, oh man, on the river, I got you even more. I got a flush. And I was like, Yeah, you got me, man. I showed him the ace queen. I was like, you got me. That flop would have been interesting, but yeah, what are you gonna do? We got in with the best hand, and we ended up losing, and that is poker. It is what it is. We made the right play, but we lost. So taking a pretty big loss, lost a $131 pot there. Doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. All right, coming into the second hand of the second session here in the cutoff with the queen of clubs, nine of clubs. There's one EP limper, so I make it 18, and only he decides to call. So going heads up to a flop. It's the six of diamonds, jack of spades, deuce of clubs. He decides to check, and we have literally nothing but hopes and dreams. We have no backdoor draws, even. Oh, actually, we have backdoor clubs, but that's about it. So I check back. I have nothing, so there's no reason to bet. Turn is the five of diamonds. He leads for 25, and I make a stupid decision. I decide to call, and I have no idea why, honestly. Like, look, I was looking back, I couldn't even think of a reason why. I think the only reason is just because I was tilted, and this guy's like super loose, so he thought I thought he was bluffing, but like I don't even beat bluffs. So I don't know what I was thinking in this moment. Anyways, the pot's of $90 going to River. It's the five of clubs, and he snaps bets 25 again. And obviously, I can't call with queen high, but somehow queen high was good enough to call on the turn. So I don't know what I was thinking. That was just a really badly played hand. I think I was tilted from losing the flip with king queen earlier because I was like right before this basically, and I was just frustrated. And it just goes to show, like, I feel like your emotions get involved. Like, this is what happens. You lose. Like, you can't ever like just let your emotions get involved. Like after I lost that flip, I did notice I was a little tilted. I should just gone up, take a walk, but not much we can do. But the opponent was really funny. He's nice enough to show me that he did have a jack. So, not surprisingly, made the right pull with queen high at the very least. So that's a silver lining, I guess. But, just goes to show if you ever kind of feel tilted at the table, just take a walk. Like, I basically lost $25 here for literally no reason. It was just a dumb play. All right, let's get into the next one. We're here in the cutoff with the nine of spades, eight of spades. The straddle is on, and there's two callers. So I decide to call. I have a good hand that has good implied odds, and I'm not super deep at this point. I'm about 150 effective after I've been losing those few hands you guys saw, plus a few others. So I decided why not, and not too many people have been raising. Button also decides to call, and then the straddle actually bumps it up to $21. And then the hijack calls. So I was like, all right, well, the hijack called. Button, I don't think is three bet all day. I was like, I'm just going to call. Button will probably call too. And that's what ends up happening. So there's four players going into flop. The pot is $88. The flop is the six of diamonds, six of spades, 10 of diamonds. The under the gun checks, the hijack checks, and I make an interesting play here, but let me explain it. I decided to go all in for about 120. That's all I had left. I was really short. And I was obviously down at this point, and I was a little tilted, obviously, as you guys could tell from that last hand. But I really don't think it was a bad play because unless someone has a six, it's a really tough spot for them to call. And even if someone had a six, which I seriously doubt any of these players would have, especially after straddle raises, and then the opponent of the hijack was super tight, like super, super tight. I don't think he ever had a six. Maybe the button does, but that's it. And unless they do have that six, they're gonna fold. This play just looks extremely strong, going all in into three people. And if worst case scenario I get called, I have that gutter and that backdoor flush draw. So I have a ton of fold equity, and then if I do get called, I will always have outs unless someone has 10-6 for flop full house, which is almost never going to be the case. So I go all in. The button folds. Under the gun says, man, good bet, good bet. I got diamonds, folds, hijack, snap folds. We get it through. Was this a spew? Was it not? I don't know. But all I do know is we're so back. I needed this pot, and it ended up coming our way. I was getting to the next one. I think this one is the hand of the night, if I do say so myself. Hand of the vlog. We're here in the cutoff with the king of spades, three of spades. One limper to me, and I make it 18. Yes, I know this is a bit loose, but the table was folding a lot to my raises. And honestly, I could count on one hand the amount of times I got three bet within this whole session. I was here for like 2 hours before this. So I have no problem playing a hand like this in late position that is extremely easy to play and has the potential to stack people. So I raise at 18. Everyone else folds besides the undergun limper who decides to call. So the pot is $40. Hopping to a flop, it's a dream. We got the eight of spades, nine of spades, three of diamonds. Instantly, I'm thinking, let's get the money in immediately. I only have like 200 left. Why not? But obviously, I can't do that. I decide to bet small, a little less than half pot, 15, and he calls. And keep in mind, this player was extremely loose, loved to call, loved to put money in. I wouldn't rather be in a position against anyone at the table than this guy. But anyways, pot $70 hopping into a turn. Bam! Four of spades right there. Opponent checks to me, and I decide to like fake look nervous. I'm like fake shaking, if you guys can see that in the hand. And I decide to put out $50. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can reasonably get all the money on the river because the effective stack's about 200. And obviously, if I bet 50 and he calls, the pot's 170. So I can easily get the rest of my money in. But surprisingly, after I bet 50, he instantly says all in. And I instantly say call. Obviously, I have the second nuts. If he has the ace high flush, good for you, bro. You're stacking me. But he already looks disappointed. River's seven of diamonds, and he just looks like he lost. Like he just had this dejected expression on his face. And I think he had the ace of spades and he was like semi bluffing, but we had about 175 left, making this about a $420 pot, which is one we did badly as we were down before this, which is why I was calling it the hand of the night. So, very happy to win this one. Very happy to hit that flush. And yeah, we get a smooth double up. All right, let's get into the last hand of the night. We're here in the cutoff with the king of diamonds, queen of hearts. EP decides to raise to 10, folds to me. And I decide to three bet to 35. Now it's on the button, and this is the same guy from earlier that we got it in with pre when I had ace queen, he had king queen, and he's just kind of sitting there tanking, counting his chips. I know he's gonna go all in, and he does go all in for 127. But something's different this time. I might put this audio in so you guys can hear it if I can hear it well.
You don't have the hand I was worried about you having. 7.
127.
You don't have aces, obviously.
Well, I'm just trying to see if I have the right odds and call.
You don't.
I think I did.
What do you mean? You gotta have like a draw or something. It's 100 more on top.
But if I don't, he's basically just saying like, bro, just fold. I have it. You need to fold. And honestly, at the time, this seemed bluffy to me, which is why I was kind of thinking about it. And I also remember from earlier, like he had no problem, getting it in with king queen. It was for 20 big, so that's not unreasonable at all. But it's just going to show this guy's not a super nit, and he's also playing a lot of pots throughout the night. So he's not a tight player at these stakes, right? He's not tight. So it's possible I'm ahead, and it's not that much more. And he's acting really strong. I'm like, seems a little bluffy to me. So I continue to try and get tells because he's talking. And one thing I always like to ask when people are talking a lot is, will you show if I fold? And when people have a strong hand, they usually don't want to say yes to this. So I ask that, and his whole demeanor changes. Like he goes silent for like 5 seconds. Will you show if I fold? Yeah?
Yeah.
And he just slowly nods his head up and down. He goes like, yeah, sure. And instantly I'm like, this guy's strong. That's what I was like. This guy's strong. Like him being strong earlier wasn't like deception. Like he was being honest. And then that just solidified it. Like I mentioned I was gonna fold, and then he was like, oh, subconsciously he was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Is what I think was going on. And I was like, I think you got it, man. I'm gonna fold. And he was nice enough to show me he had pocket queens. So we make the mathematically right play. In this situation, queens against kings, obviously we're a huge underdog. And I was happy to kind of get that live read. I was honestly, if this guy didn't talk, I probably would have called just because like I thought he was a looser player at the time, which he definitely is looser for these stakes. Um, and I thought he could have jacks. I thought he could have tens. I thought he could have ace five. I thought he could have honestly enough hands that it made sense to call. And I'm glad he started talking because it ended up leading me to making the right read and making the right fold. So I'm really happy with this hand. And this guy's really nice too. Obviously, guys gonna see the video, but if you do watch, just next time, just don't talk when you go all in. But yeah, it's super fun playing with this guy, and yeah, happy with that fold. Second session was a lot more entertaining than the first, as you guys can tell. There were way more hands, but it did not go as well. I was winning and losing a lot. You saw the flips with ace queen. But we ended up with a very tiny win, $24. Hey, I'll take it over a loss. I was down like 200, $300 at one point. We came back, played well. I was happy with my play for the most part, but losing those flips, it is what it is, man. So on the video as a whole, we profited $404 after 2 sessions. So we were at 5,782. Now we're 6,186 on the bankroll session. Still, our bankroll tracker still running hot. It's like I can't lose. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I hope it doesn't end. Every time I go, I'm like, this is where I lose. This is where I lose. Hasn't been the case yet. Hopefully it continues. But yeah, again, I've just graduated. So this summer, I'm been playing a lot more poker. I'm gonna be posting a lot more. That's why, like, I haven't been posting these past couple of weeks because I was super busy with school, graduation, all that stuff. But now all that's over, and I got this summer to kind of focus on this channel and playing it a lot more. So I'm gonna be trying to post about once a week, try and get up to 10K on the Bankroll Challenge before the summer ends. And yeah, those are the goals. So look forward to some more videos. Feedback's always appreciated with anything. Appreciate you guys watching, and have a good day.